What are some of the biggest factors y'all look for when it comes to determining a playoff series? And this is probably a question that came up just multiple times throughout the years, but sometimes our thoughts and how we think about things, they evolve, or sometimes they stay the same.
Yeah. I mean, the first thing that comes to mind is that the NBA is not like the NFL, like a one-game elimination. And it's not like baseball where so many players that one player can get hot. So I feel like the better team usually wins 90% of the time in the NBA. So the first thing you look at is which team is more talented. Just the first thing. If this team has won 60 games, most likely they're going to win at least that first round, mostly that second round too. So that's the first thing that comes to mind.
For me, one of the first things I look at is how much can I rely on you to be able to get stops in crucial situations. And sometimes I know we say that about the Denver Nuggets, that they sometimes get timely stops, but then sometimes I look at it and say, I just don't know how much I trust that. I know it's happened over the last few years, but I need to be able to trust you to be able to get that stop when I need it the most. And for a team like them, they've kind of fallen down for me when they talk about contenders a little bit. But it's just strictly off of that.
To me, it's matchups. I think the playoffs are a matchup-based thing. You might have a player who has just dominated the league, but he struggles against a particular team. You might have, some type of favorable matchup in each series. I mean, even in the tournament, I know it's single-game elimination, but you even see that where you might see a team that has all of these five-star recruits and All-Americans, but they may run up against a team that just plays so slow or throws out a 2-3 zone for the entire course of the game, and it just shakes you up. So I think basketball at every level is just a matchup-oriented thing, and I think it applies in the playoffs as well. The only thing is kind of like what KB said. Because it's 7 games and you're coached by the most talented minds, you're able to make some of those adjustments. But if the NBA was single-game elimination, oh, my gosh, we would see, I think, some crazy stuff.
Oh, yeah, especially if you included, like, more than just the play, like you increased it a little bit. You can have some lower seeds upset some of the top seeds.
Yeah, you definitely could.
Just strictly just off the fact that threes are such a premium now that, like, you might just get blown out just strictly off of threes.
For sure.
Couldn't keep up.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
we saw that in the play-in a few years ago. One of the first years of the play-in where the Warriors were like a 7 or 8 seed. It's like, it's the Warriors. They just got to win one game to get in, and then they lost the 2 games. They missed the postseason completely. So one-game elimination is kind of cool. That's when we get to, like, the NBA Cup stuff. I think you kind of see some one-game elimination stuff where it's like, oh, my God, this Pacers team out of nowhere
was structured a little differently because you get to it's one game, but it ain't like high stakes sometimes.
Yeah, it's like some teams get eliminated and then they just play the next day. So it's it doesn't have the same feeling as
go home.
Yeah.
I mean, the Miami Heat made it there off of day shooters just getting hot at the right time, and they just so happened to stay hot all the way to the finals.
Yeah, the Heat fans didn't like that because they clipped that out and put it on social. You said, yeah, you got to get lucky sometimes. It's like, man, 2 championship appearances in 3 years is luck. It's like,
y'all still kind of look
Gabe
at
Vincent did do his thing.
Youth, and I know the Thunder kind of trying to change that narrative, but they're still the anomaly for right now.
Experience plays a factor a little bit. I'm trying to still gauge how much. I think I just have to see it to believe. I mean, how much I gauge it with the Spurs.
Sure.
I mean, I felt the same way about the Thunder. I'm not saying that the Spurs aren't contenders, but I'd like to see, like, what if they are just still learning? Like, what if a team just throws some stuff at them in a playoff series that they just haven't seen yet?
Yeah, I think we're in a new era where the age stuff can matter to an extent, but, like, though this Spurs team is super young, I'm not knocking them for the age.
Yeah, same.
Like, they are a contender, and honestly
I thought
speaking,
you just did.
No, I said I'm not knocking them, but it's just like some of the OKC, I still just want to see it a little bit.
I think they could beat any team in the league in a 7-game series. But I think it has shifted a little bit. I think stars are younger now, and they have a generational guy. Like, I think that changed. Like, if the Atlanta Hawks, if everybody in the Atlanta Hawks was 3 years younger and they were winning games, I think we might look at it a little different because they don't have a generational guy. They don't have a superstar. This team has a superstar that plays both sides of the ball and does crazy stuff. And then they got hounds defensively. They got shoot. They got pretty much everything you can want from a contending team outside of, like, I guess, general size outside of Wembanyama. They're kind of small from, like, Champagnie and Harrison Barnes playing 4 hybrids and stuff.
But they play bigger than what they are. Keldon Johnson, he plays way bigger than 6'5".
Yeah, and they don't give up offensive rebounds, which is basically what the size really is about, right? And if you're gonna have the alien Roman, you don't really care if Aaron Gordon has a post up against a smaller guy because the alien gonna be on help side. He'll be all right. So it's some interesting stuff.
Experience is good to have, but I never will pick against a team because they don't have it. Basketball is basketball at the end of the day. They got a really good team. They beating up on teams in the regular season. Some things change a little bit in the playoffs, but at the end of the day, it's still the same game that they've been playing for the most part. And again, if you have overwhelming talent, it's going to work. That's what it's about. You have the talent that can fit together and win. OKC, when they had Kevin Durant in them, they was young and didn't have it the most experience, and they still were able to make it, and they ran to a team that just had a little bit more talent. OKC last year, you got the Spurs this year. So,
but when y'all think about youth, because OKC was a young team, but they weren't an inexperienced team, right? They had a couple playoff series under the belt. The previous year, they went to the second round. The year before that, they were first round exit. So they had like 2 years worth of playoff experience, if you will, even if they were super young.
Kinda,
Yeah,
but
'cause
that
I
was
think
very minimal experience. Like,
it was a big jump.
3 playoff series versus a full 4-round.
yeah, you're going to the NBA Finals, the biggest stage, and this is a team, the Spurs, where people projecting them. I mean, again, experience is never nothing wrong with having the experience, but I'm not necessarily counting you out if you have a certain level of success and talent on your team.
Yeah.
You made a good point. If the Hawks was doing it, it probably would hit a little different because, well, if the Hawks were doing it, Jalen Johnson probably would be in the superstar category. But yeah, some young teams, it could be a little different because you might not have necessarily the superstar leading the charge.
I mean, we might see it in the first round, right? They could potentially match up against the Clippers, a team with basically everybody.
And you told me, you said that's 5 games.
I'm taking Spurs in 5. You
Yeah.
kidding me? Spurs in 5. Unless DG is playing like he just played a couple nights ago, then we might have
With
to
the 30
say Spurs in
and-
6.
yeah, with the 40 and 10.
I'm not Spurs in 6. Yeah, Spurs in 6. Spurs 6.
I thought he was going to take the Clippers.
So when you say you need to see it, what does that mean?
Well, that's always been his thing. Even before the season started, Wembanyama, he needed
That's
to
what I'm
see-
saying. Like, to me, when you say that, it's kind of a not. Because anybody, after it happens, everybody sees it.
I'm just saying, like, I'm not completely out on them. Like, there is a level of belief in them that they could still be
Are
a
they
serious
in
team.
the Western Conference? You probably have OKC number 1.
And they're number 2 for me.
They're number 2. Okay.
Yeah, I'm
That's-
just
that's
saying I
very
can't
fair.
make them a clear-cut 1 or, like, put them up there with OKC until I see it or something.
Okay. I mean, that's
Well,
fair.
I mean, they right behind them. You ain't seen a little something. So I mean, they right there.
Yeah, I mean, this is the team that has dominated OKC this year. So it's kind of hard not to have some sort of belief in them.